Educational resources, an overview in educational textbooks and websites. Educational resources refer to all human and non-human material, audiovisual, school environment, and community material available to facilitate and simplify the teaching-learning process. Educational resources cover any material drawn or photographed, built manually or electronically operated, books and all forms of related materials used in teaching and learning processes. They include the teachers and the voice and body language, real objects, models, chalk and boards, school buildings, the community at large, and the fundamental materials like pencils, pens, books, and any other that can be used to make teaching and learning more meaningful and more comprehensible to learners. No matter which category they correspond to, educational resources are no doubt important in development of an integral teaching-learning environment. Educational resources constitute tools for the development and enrichment of the teaching and learning process. But keep in mind that both terms are not interchangeably used. Resources include any type of material that can be applied to support the teaching and learning process, but was not specifically designed for such purpose. For example, a newspaper, while materials are specifically designed and produced in order to guide and support the teaching and learning process. For example, a specific poster designed by the teacher. In terms of designing, selecting, adapting, creating, or implementing educational resources, it is important to highlight that it is not restrained in listing in isolation the pedagogical knowledge about resources or focusing on their technical attributes. But more than that, it emphasizes on guiding students to learn in better ways and how to provoke an appealing experience for them in the teaching and learning process with different choices of materials. In terms of material design, have you already read about principles regarding to knowledge competency-based, students' teachers' role, cultural issues, teacher-trainer's role? So, here there are some important questions you may want to ask yourself next time you start designing an educational material. Feel free to pause the video at this point. Some of the factors to consider when designing materials include curriculum and context in order to ensure goals and objectives to overreach the curriculum. Resources and facilities in order to be realistic in terms of accessibility. Personal confidence and competence in order to embrace teachers' experience, perceived creativity, and artistic skills. Copyright compliance in order to be aware of restrictions of copyright laws. And time in order to make it manageable, as for teamwork, sharing materials, or storage organization. As for some specific educational materials, textbooks are usually a key component in EFL/ESL classes. They may provide the basis to establish the curriculum itself, in terms of contents, skills to be taught, and even the methodologies to be implemented. The textbook is also a supplement to the teacher's instruction and an important source of contact to the language. On the other hand, taking into account the great influence that ICT has in society and education, there are many websites found on the internet, but only the ones pointing at students as a target group fall under the category of educational websites. These websites may have two goals: to be informative or formative. Somehow, these websites seek to facilitate the understanding of the subject matter and to have access to didactic resources, among other features. In terms of usability, a textbook can influence the teaching and learning experience of all participants. In some contexts, instructors can select the books they would implement. In other cases, they are not involved in such process. In any case, when using a textbook, these are some actions that are recommended to be carried out prior to the selection. Have a general overview of the textbook, or examine the whole book, the table of contents, scope and sequence, appendices, number of units. Analyze the content and layout. Review the skills, themes, illustrations, colors, graphics. Analyze the exercises or activities promoted so they meet the curriculum and the pedagogical purposes of the context. Be ready to provide adaptations and extra activities. Find ways to adapt what is in the book to fit an educational setting and needs. For example, sequencing, instructions, or materials that are not provided by the textbook. As for the website, in the ESL/EFL class, teachers should reflect upon the following questions. Who will be using the website? Language learners, teachers, or users in general? When will it be used? At the lab, mobile learning, synchronous or asynchronous sessions? What is its purpose? Is it informative, as an instructional or experiential material? Or is it formative, as an elicitative and exploratory material? How is it used? Are users contextualized first? Do they explore it first? There are some considerations for teachers when evaluating and selecting a textbook. In terms of curriculum, check if the content fits the objectives of the program, course topics, or time frame. For students' needs, check if the language learning patterns have a logical sequence and if they are visually appealing. Check if they provide multimedia support, different activities, explanations, and instructions, and if it is affordable to all students. As for the teachers, check if the book provides useful content and also if it is such a content that is presented in a different format, such as charts and illustrations. See if it provides diverse activities and examples so that the teacher can plan accordingly to the needs of the class. In the case of a website evaluation, you may be attentive to criteria such as pedagogical purposes, language skills, target audience, authoring, content organization, type of navigation, and level of interactivity.